I never expected a call like this. When the lawyer told me I'd inherited my grandmother's land, my heart skipped. Grandma's stories about that place had been a part of my childhood, picnics, summer nights, laughter echoing under the oak trees. "You're the rightful owner now," the lawyer said. "It's all yours." I sat back, a strange mix of pride and nostalgia washing over me. Grandma had loved that land like it was her own kingdom. She said it held our family's roots, our history. I promised myself I'd protect it, just like she did. The next weekend, I decided to visit. The drive was longer than I remembered, twisting through sleepy roads lined with thick woods. As I turned the final corner, my stomach tightened. Something was off. Heavy machinery rumbled nearby. Fences blocked the entrance. The air smelled of fresh concrete and paint, signs of construction. My breath caught. This wasn't the peaceful haven Grandma described. I stepped closer, heart pounding, and spotted workers unloading materials. "Hey!" I called out, trying to sound confident. "This land belongs to me now. What's going on here?" A burly man glanced my way, smirking. "You must be the new owner. We have permits. This land's been sold legally." "Sold? To whom?" "I have the title right here," I said, pulling out the papers. The man shrugged and went back to work. "Talk to the HOA. They handle everything." I looked around for help and noticed an elderly woman watching me from a nearby porch. Her eyes held a mix of sympathy and caution. "You're the one who inherited the Johnson place, aren't you?" she asked quietly. "Yes. Do you know what's happening?" I replied. She nodded slowly. "There's been a lot of noise about new developments. But many here don't trust those folks. You'll need to be careful." Her words stung. No one told me about any sale or permits. Was my family's land slipping away without my knowledge? Confusion and betrayal settled in, but beneath it all, a fierce protectiveness ignited. Grandma had fought to keep this place safe, and I wasn't about to let anyone take it from me. I clenched my fists, staring at the machines tearing into my inheritance. This was just the beginning. I was going to find out the truth, no matter what it took. I approached the construction site, my heart pounding with a mix of anger and disbelief. "Excuse me," I called out to a man directing the workers. "Who gave you permission to start building here?" He glanced up, wiping sweat from his brow. "We have the permits," he said, holding up a folder. "Everything's legal." I stepped closer, trying to see the papers, but he pulled back. "You're new around here, aren't you? This land isn't yours anymore." "What do you mean?" "I have the deed," I said, voice steady despite the frustration rising inside me. "Look, lady," another worker said, "you don't know the whole story. Best you leave before things get complicated." I clenched my fists. "Complicated? This is my family's land. No one told me about any sale or development." The man smirked. "Talk to the HOA. They manage the property rules here." Determined, I went to the HOA office. Inside, a receptionist gave me a polite but firm smile. "Property records? You'll need to fill out a request form." I handed over my documents, but after waiting hours, the official returned with vague answers. "There might be pending developments. It's complicated. You should consult a lawyer." Feeling dismissed, I asked around. At a local cafe, a neighbor lowered his voice. "That HOA president? She's got connections, developers love her. Rumors say she pushes deals through behind closed doors." My stomach twisted. "Are they trying to take my land?" He shook his head slowly. "People who ask questions tend to get warned off. Be careful." The weight of the situation pressed down on me. I was supposed to protect my family's legacy, but instead, I felt powerless. Every door I knocked on seemed to close in my face. But I refused to back down. This isn't over, I told myself. I'm going to find the truth, no matter who stands in my way. I spent the next few days buried in paperwork, determined to understand every detail about the land. I pulled out old deeds and wills my grandmother had kept locked away. These documents are more than just paper, I reminded myself. They hold the truth. At the county records office, I sifted through dusty files and faded maps. The clerk watched me with mild curiosity but didn't offer much help. I found survey reports dated years before the current construction started. Something didn't add up. The signatures on some deeds looked shaky, almost like they'd been traced. Why would anyone forge these? I muttered, flipping through pages. I called my lawyer, who agreed to help me verify the authenticity. She said, if these documents are fake, we have a serious case. The next day, I talked to Mr. Harris, an elderly neighbor who'd lived nearby for decades. They've been trying to take that land for years, he said quietly. Back in the 90s, there were rumors about backdoor deals. Folks who stood in their way disappeared or got pressured. His words chilled me. Do you think the HOA or developers were involved? He nodded. That president? She's ruthless. Don't trust her. With every discovery, the fight became clearer, but so did the risks. I wrestled with doubt. Can I really win against people this powerful? I asked myself. But remembering Grandma's stories, the land's importance to my family, I found new strength. I have to try, I told myself. My lawyer sent over some analysis, confirming several documents were suspicious. This is bigger than I thought, she said. You're up against a network, not just a few greedy individuals. I realized this wouldn't just be about stopping construction. It was a battle to expose corruption, protect my family legacy, and fight for what's right. I felt overwhelmed but ready. The pieces were coming together, and so was my resolve. I wasn't prepared for how quickly things would turn hostile after I spoke up. The first threatening call came late at night. A gruff voice warned me to stop interfering or face consequences. I hung up, my hands trembling. Who were these people? The next day, as I drove to the property, I saw fresh tire tracks tearing up the grass near the boundary. Workers blocked the usual access road with heavy equipment. When I asked them to move, one security guard stepped forward, his eyes cold. This area is off limits, he said flatly. No trespassing. I took out my phone and started recording. This is my land, I insisted. I have every right to be here. He laughed. You think that matters? You don't know who you're messing with. Frustration bubbled inside me, but I stayed calm. I'm going to document everything. Back home, I tried reaching local officials for help. Calls went unanswered, emails ignored. At one meeting, an aide dismissed me curtly. Property disputes like this are complicated. Best to seek legal advice. My friends and family watched with worry. Be careful, my sister said softly. They're powerful. But their concern only fueled my resolve. I can't back down now, I told her. If I don't fight, who will? Late at night, when the house was quiet, I felt the loneliness weigh heavily. This wasn't just about land anymore, it was about standing up against a system designed to crush people like me. I'm scared, I admitted to myself one evening. But I'm stronger than they think. Every threat, every attempt to intimidate only sharpened my focus. I reminded myself why I started this fight, for my family, for our legacy. The road ahead was daunting, but I wasn't alone. I had my truth, and I was ready to fight. I knew I couldn't fight this battle alone, so I reached out to a lawyer my friend recommended, Maya. When I met her, I could tell right away she wasn't just here for a paycheck. So, you're saying they've already started building on your property without your consent? Maya asked, her eyes sharp but warm. I nodded, handing over the documents I'd gathered. It feels like a nightmare. She smiled gently. We'll get through this. First, we file for an injunction to stop construction immediately. Then, we'll dig deeper into their permits and contracts. As we sat around a cluttered table in her office, she mapped out the strategy: subpoenas, court orders, witness statements. These developers and HOA leaders have influence, she warned. Corruption runs deep in cases like yours. Hearing that scared me, but it also made me more determined. I won't let them steamroll us. Maya placed a reassuring hand on mine. You're not alone anymore. That week, I attended a community meeting Maya suggested. The room buzzed with anxious voices and hopeful faces. I'm not the only one this happened to. I asked a woman beside me. She nodded. They've bullied many of us. But together, we might stand a chance. Neighbors shared stories of harassment and broken promises. Suddenly, my fight felt bigger. It wasn't just about my land, it was about all of us. After the meeting, a group approached me. We're with you, they said. Let's make sure they can't do this again. Relief washed over me, mingling with nerves about the long road ahead. Maya's confidence and the community support gave me hope I hadn't felt in weeks. I'm ready, I told Maya later. Let's bring them down. Her smile was fierce. We will. I sat across from Maya, my lawyer, as she spread out a pile of documents on the table. Look at this, she said, pointing. These signatures don't match. And these surveys, they're doctored. My stomach dropped. So they forged the papers? She nodded. It's worse than that. We found hidden agreements between the developers and some local officials, bribes, kickbacks. They planned this land grab for years. How did you find this? I asked, heart pounding. Sources. And someone's been watching. A whistleblower just reached out. Later that day, my phone buzzed. A message appeared, meet me tonight. I have proof. Alone. My hands shook, but I knew I had to go. In a dim cafe, a nervous man slid a folder across the table. They're playing dirty. I used to work for the HOA, he whispered. I saw the deals. The fake permits, the forged signatures, it's all part of their plan. Why tell me? I asked. Because I can't be part of this anymore. They threaten anyone who speaks up. I looked at the papers inside, emails, bank slips, even recordings. Back at Maya's office, I told her everything. This is explosive, she said. If we expose this, they'll come after us harder. Days later, I noticed strange cars parked near my house. My phone rang with silent calls. The weight of the fight hit me. This was more dangerous than I imagined. But surrender wasn't an option. They think they can scare me into silence, I muttered. They're wrong. Maya's voice was firm. We have the truth. We'll make them pay. Despite the fear, a fierce determination burned inside me. This corruption wouldn't win, not while I was fighting. I stood before the crowded room, heart pounding but voice steady. We're here because this isn't just my fight anymore, I began. Our community is under threat, our homes, our land, our voices. Some faces looked skeptical, others wary. A woman near the back whispered, what if they come after us too? I nodded, that fear is real, but silence only lets them win. We need to stand together. One by one, neighbors shared their stories, threatening letters, sudden property restrictions, unexplained fines. Their voices trembled but carried undeniable pain. A man raised his hand, they tried to push me out last year. I thought I was alone. You're not, I said, feeling the room shift. We'll start a petition demanding transparency. We'll reach out to the media. And if needed, public demonstrations. As the meeting ended, hands shook, and numbers were exchanged. "I'm with you," said a young mother. "We've been scared for too long." But word spread fast. Soon, I heard rumors, lies painted about me trying to stir trouble, questioning my credibility. Letters arrived, threatening legal action. My phone buzzed with anonymous calls. "They want to scare me," I admitted to Maya. "But I won't back down." She smiled. "That's the spirit. The more they try to silence you, the louder we get." I felt a strange strength rise within. Leading wasn't easy, but seeing our community unite made every challenge worth it. "We're not just fighting for a piece of land," I told a neighbor. "We're fighting for our home, our rights, our future." And together, we prepared for the next battle. The eviction notice arrived like a slap in the face. "You must vacate the property immediately," it said, signed by some court official I'd never heard of. I stared at it, my hands shaking. "They're trying to push me out," I whispered. Maya called right after. "They've filed a motion to dismiss your claims," she said firmly. "But we have counter-evidence. We're not backing down." Financial strain was real. Legal fees piled up, and every bill felt like a mountain. I overheard my sister talking on the phone, worried about how long I could keep this fight going. "I'm exhausted," I confessed to her one night. "But I can't give up." Family dinners became tense. My partner asked gently, "Are you sure this is worth it? It's taking a toll on all of us." I looked into their eyes and nodded. "If I don't fight, who will? This land means everything to me." The stress crept in, late nights filled with paperwork, early mornings with phone calls. Fear whispered, "What if you lose?" But stronger voices inside me roared back, "You're not alone. You have the truth." Then came the hearing, a packed courtroom buzzing with whispers and flashing cameras. Maya and I sat side by side, piles of evidence between us. When the judge called the session to order, my heart pounded in my chest. I glanced at the crowd, neighbors, supporters, even some curious opponents. This is it, I thought. No turning back. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of everything, the threats, the exhaustion, the hope. "This land is my family's legacy," I said clearly when my turn came. "I stand here not just for myself, but for every person who believes in justice." Despite feeling overwhelmed, a fierce determination burned through me. I would face whatever came next with everything I had. The courtroom felt heavy, every whisper bouncing off the walls. I sat beside Maya, clutching the edge of the table, heart pounding. "This is it," I whispered. "No more waiting." The opposing counsel strutted in, arrogance dripping from every word. "Your Honor, these documents are valid," he claimed, waving the forged deeds. "The plaintiff's claims are baseless." Maya stood firm. "Your Honor, we present expert analysis proving these signatures are forged." She handed over the report, clear and undeniable. Witness after witness testified, neighbors who'd seen suspicious activity, the whistleblower who risked everything to speak out. Each story chipped away at their defense. The antagonist tried to twist facts, accusing me of fabricating evidence, but Maya's calm rebuttals kept their lies in check. "Objection, Your Honor," she said sharply, "this is slander." I glanced at the judge, eyes heavy with the weight of responsibility. The silence stretched, every second feeling like an eternity. Doubt gnawed at me. What if it's not enough? What if they win? But then I remembered the journey, the documents, the neighbors' courage, the truth standing tall. This fight is bigger than me, I thought. It's about justice, integrity, and standing for what's right. When the judge finally spoke, my breath caught. "The court finds in favor of the plaintiff." Relief crashed over me, tears prickling. We had won, not just land, but justice itself. The courtroom fell silent as the judge cleared his throat. After careful review, the court rules the property rightfully belongs to the plaintiff. All development on the land is to cease immediately. I felt my breath catch. Relief washed over me like a tidal wave. We did it, I whispered to Maya, my voice trembling. Outside, the news spread fast. The developers faced hefty fines, and the HOA president's shady deals were exposed, leading to investigations and public disgrace. It was more than a legal win, it was a victory for truth and justice. At a community gathering that evening, neighbors cheered, laughter and tears mixing in the warm air. "You stood up for all of us," an elderly man said, clasping my hand. "You gave us hope." I smiled, overwhelmed by the support. "This was never just about the land," I replied. "It was about protecting our home, our families, and standing against corruption." As I looked around at familiar faces, friends, neighbors, even those once hesitant, I felt a profound pride. The fight had tested me, stretched me, but also transformed me. Later that night, sitting alone, I reflected on the journey. The fear, the sleepless nights, the threats, they were worth this moment. "Grandma, we kept your promise," I said softly, tears falling. "Your legacy is safe." This victory was more than legal, it was personal, communal, and a testament to resilience. I finally felt the storm settle. Life wasn't perfect, but there was peace, a new rhythm forming around me. Walking the land, I traced the paths my grandmother once told me about, imagining her footsteps beside mine. "I want to restore this place like she dreamed," I said to Maya one afternoon. "Not just fix what they damaged, but honor our history." She smiled. "You've come so far." I visited the old neighbors, swapping stories and laughter, feeling the bonds that had frayed but never broken. The community wasn't just my support system anymore, it was family. One evening, at a meeting, we formed a committee to protect others from what I faced. "We can't let this happen again," I told them. "We have to be vigilant." Their nods warmed me. This fight wasn't over, it was evolving. Reflecting on my journey, I remembered the fear and uncertainty when I first inherited the land. I was so unsure, I admitted to a friend. But now I know standing up matters, even when it's hard. Gratitude filled me for every person who stood by me, every moment I almost gave up but didn't. The scars on the land mirrored the scars in me, reminders of struggle, but also survival. "I'm ready," I told myself, "to keep fighting, to keep protecting." Because justice isn't a destination, it's a continuous journey. And I'm here for the long haul. I gathered a small group of neighbors and friends one sunny afternoon. "We need to do more than just protect this land," I said. "We should create a foundation, one that helps others fight for their rights, just like we did." The room buzzed with energy. "A community trust," Maya added. "To preserve our history and support families facing similar battles." We set to work, drafting plans, fundraising, and spreading the word. It wasn't easy, but every step felt like planting seeds for a stronger future. Months later, at the Foundation's first event, I watched children play under the ancient oaks, families sharing stories, and neighbors smiling freely. The land, once scarred by greed, was alive again. My family stood beside me, proud and hopeful. "You turned pain into power," my sister whispered. I smiled, feeling the weight and warmth of legacy. "This is just the beginning," I said softly. Looking back, I knew the fight was more than legal, it was about justice, persistence, and standing up for what's right, no matter the odds. The true legacy, I thought, is the courage to protect what matters, and to pass that courage on. With hope in my heart and the community by my side, I felt ready for whatever came next.